Welcome back to a Celtic State of Mind. I'm Paul John Dykes and it's Monday, so we're going for another wander round paradise. And it's a paradise that saw Celtic go back to the top of the league as we move into the international break. Psychologically, how will that benefit Celtic and how will it affect the challengers? Well, we went into that game at the weekend there with more injury concerns. Liam Scales was out, but the big news, of course, was that Cameron Carter-Vickers came back into that Celtic defence and he was partnering Stephen Welsh, and you just look at that performance at the weekend and you realise again the importance of Carter-Vickers when he's in that defence. The whole thing is far more solid, such an influential player, and we looked far better and quicker at getting the ball moving and transitioning from defence to attack as well. What other changes in the starting lineup did we have before the game? Well, it was Kyogo back into the starting lineup, back in amongst the goals. We've been talking all week that we have to find a way to start Kyogo, particularly with the Rangers game just on the horizon, and Kyogo started and of course opened the scoring. 15th goal of the season for Kyogo Furuhashi, and it looks to me as though we've found a way to get him back in the side, and we seem to be playing a style of football that suits him again. And a big part of that, I think, is down to the work of the wingers. Obviously last week we've seen the performance of Dyson Maeda. We were talking about him being a cult hero, scoring a hat-trick and missing another 3 chances. But on the right-hand side, we also saw a really good performance last week and again at the weekend by Nicholas Kuhn. Kuhn coming in January on the right wing at a time where it didn't look as though we needed many more wingers. And he failed to really make an impact in his first few games at Celtic. Many fans were writing him off. He's then had a really good performance against Livingston and again against St Johnstone, scoring his first goal at Celtic Park. There's still a lot of work to do, but the signs are very positive on Nicholas Kuhn, and I think he had a very good game and he scored an excellent goal as well. Interestingly, the start 11 only had one player that we signed in the summer, in Paulo Bernardo. Iwata, of course, was a legacy signing already in the building, and we turned it from a loan deal to a permanent deal. There was an obligation to do that. So Bernardo started. But when we look after the international break with Callum McGregor coming back, Rio Atati coming back, the big question is, how do we shape that midfield? Does Iwata retain his jersey? Does Bernardo keep a place in the start 11? I think I would put Callum McGregor and Rio Atati right back into the team. You look at the positives from the weekend going into the international break. Of course, top of the league psychologically gives you that boost as well, because it's all fair and well having games in hand, but you've got to go and win those games. Carter-Vickers back in the side, massive boost for Celtic from back to front. And then of course Kyogo coming back into a bit of form, Kuhn showing a wee bit of form. He'd already been written off, of course, and then after the international break we've got the return of players like Yang, who was playing really well before his suspension. Callum McGregor, the captain, you can't underestimate the influence he's got on this side. Rio Atati, the playmaker, of course, as well. And you've got players like Palmer who'll be coming back in and giving the gaffer options going into the last few games of the season, and of course the big ones in the Glasgow derbies. So lots to be positive about. The only real grumbling the weekend was the fact we didn't score more goals. So we win 3-1, we had 3 goals chopped off. One of them I felt was very dubiously chopped off, with Alistair Johnston getting on the score sheet, and it looked a bit dubious to me. And then of course we had the penalty incident where the ball was blocked on the line by an arm and we didn't get a penalty kick. And this is Scottish football over the back. When you look at that scenario compared to Iwata at Tynecastle, where he's facing in the wrong direction, the ball ricochets off his arm, he knows nothing about it, and he is penalised, and Celtic get a penalty against us. So this is a frustration, I think, at the weekend. We didn't score more goals. It's very, very tight at the top. The goal difference is equal at the moment. And it looked as though it could have been a 6 or a 7-1 if everything had gone our way at the weekend as well. But as I say, Scottish football, that is, for me, the amateurish nature of what we have to put up with, as well as things like the away days being ruined by clubs not giving Celtic and other clubs an allocation, a decent allocation, when we play elsewhere in Scotland. And of course the pitches we saw at the weekend. This is why Celtic have the advantage, if you like, of having played a game more. Danes Park waterlogged, and I think that Scottish football at the top flight really has to get their act together, because things like that are just embarrassing. A game that's live to the nation and it's broadcast globally, and it doesn't go ahead because the pitch looks like a Sunday League park, which isn't good enough. So yeah, very positive going into the break for Celtic, and I think that, you know, moving into the last few games of the season, to get these key players back will give us the confidence. Who starts at the back for Celtic when we go to Ibrox? That's a big question, because Welsh part of Carter Vickers, Scales has been there all season. Let us know in the comment section what your thoughts are, and what is the three in the midfield? Matt O'Reilly, Callum McGregor, Rio Otai, Paulo Bernardo, and also Samoki Iwata. Which three of the five do you pick for the midfield going into that Rangers game when they're all fit and firing on all cylinders? A special mention, I think, goes out to James Forrest, who completed Celtic's scoring with a brilliantly taken third goal. Brendan Rodgers has been speaking about him in recent times, calling him the best winger at the club, of course, but also accepting the fact that he's at that age now where he won't be playing 90 minutes of football all that regularly for Celtic. But I think what he's shown in recent weeks is that there is a part for him to play, and he can come on and really affect the game positively, as he did in the last couple of weeks. Don't forget also, the actual assist from Matt O'Reilly was sensational. Brilliant the way that he picked it out, the speed in which he was able to do that, and it really created the space for Forrest, who had a lot to do to notch that goal. So fair play to James Forrest in his testimonial year. And I just hope, and I've said this from day one, I hope that James Forrest finishes his career at Celtic a one-club man, undoubtedly a legend of Celtic Football Club. And it's great to see him participating and contributing properly and positively to the cause as well. Big shout out to the women's team, 2-1 win against Rangers as well. Hopefully we'll see more games here at Celtic Park to get more and more people behind the women's team. And of course, Celtic events are still active with Acsom, and we will be at Grace's on the 4th of April with Paddy McCourt. If you want to enter a competition to win some tickets for that, just email me and tell me who your cult hero is and why. pauljohndykes@gmail.com is the email address, and you might be in with an opportunity and a chance to win 2 tickets for Paddy McCourt with the Celtic State of Mind. Join us again tomorrow at 12:30 for the Acsom Bulletin.